Okay, here is my attempt at creating a full track in 20 minutes. Super difficult, highly recommended. By watching this video, you're gonna see where my process fell down. You'll get some ideas for your own workflow. Obviously, creating a full track in 20 minutes is kind of fake, but I highly recommend this exercise. It took me 4 tries to get a usable video. By the end, I was kind of reusing the drums, but the level of organization required to pull this off is gonna pay huge dividends when you're in the creative flow, creating a track. You're gonna be able to stay in that creative flow and reach for the elements that you need. All right, recording a track in 20 minutes. Here we go. This narration is recorded afterwards. It actually took me 4 tries to get something usable here, but I learned a lot. So I've got a very basic drum loop in there, left over from the other attempts. And the samples were provided by Camille Dahman. I'm in his dojo, and he sent some Nordlead and Electron samples as a challenge to work with. So in this first section, I'm just working on the melodic elements. I'm starting with a chord stab here, filtering it. I often joke that I make auto-filter music. That's my genre. And I think what this reveals about my music is that I'm really focused on the melodic elements, not so much the drums as other guys. So moving on to a pad sample, I sliced that pad, and so you've got a bright section and a filtered section. And I'm using that as a chord stab to play off the other stabs. I think another thing I learned from this project, in minimal house music, it's great to add these effects. Adding an echo is almost like adding a collaborator. In some ways, you don't know exactly what it's going to do, and you can find new rhythms. However, I feel pretty strongly that effects don't make the sound. The core musical idea makes the sound. I'm sure it's fun to discover musical effects using, musical elements using effects, but really, if the core ideas isn't there, the effects aren't going to make it better. So yeah, chorus and echo and a frequency filter on that bright pad. All these samples were in C minor. Yeah, and here I'm bringing out another delay that has a nice effect, nice filter effect to it. I think the preset is called Dubwise. This is the Arturia Delay Brigade. Another sample, got that in classic mode so that as you trigger different notes on the keyboard, it plays the sample at different frequencies. Yeah, so we're about 7 minutes in and I'm working on a little lead synth here. Like I said, the main learning is just how critical it is to have your samples ready to go. I went through and actually, I picked these sounds before starting the 20-minute timer. And then what I learned is that, great to work on the main musical idea, but don't get bogged down in the effects just yet. Save that for mixing and later. The reason why this is applicable to your normal workflow, obviously you don't make a track in 20 minutes every time. It's because when you're quickly sketching ideas, it's great to have all your source material at the ready. And so this process really drove home to me how important it is to have a nicely organized sample library, pick your sounds, have your presets ready and saved, so that as you're sketching your track idea, you can just reach for known good sounds and not be experimenting too much when you're trying to create a musical idea. I think the video paused there while I checked the timer. We're already about 8 or 9 minutes into the session. Spent all the time on the melodic idea so far. And now I'm starting in on the bass line. So here again, just using a sample in classic, simpler mode. And this is another good learning from this section. So just tap in a rhythm, one note, get a good rhythm going, and then go in and modify the notes to be different notes in the same scale. I try to remove the downbeats wherever possible to avoid the kick and bass playing at the same time. Adding some variation up and down. I also used a lot of notes in this bass line. I feel like in this track that was necessary to keep it moving along, even though it's, what is this, 127 BPM. Find that if your brain locks in too much on the repeating chord pattern, it feels like a slower track. So adding lots of notes in the bass line to keep the track bouncing along. It's also got notator 16D swing on it. So there's a swing you can find called notator 16D. Learned that from DeMarzo. This is his default swing for drums and other elements. Says that it's the best for making your track mix well with others in a DJ set. Okay, so we're going to do some hi-hats now. I had this little 16th note pattern in there. Only change I did to the hi-hats, besides picking a nice sound from the Electron set, is ducking the velocity on the downbeats. Or lowering the velocity on the downbeats so that it again sits under the kick. So now I'm copying my parts down. I'm going to start trying to make a little bit of a break. And here my goal is going to be to create contrast. So I'm taking that pad and deleting all the notes I was doing and just creating one sustained note. And so this is a variation that's going to play during the break to let the track open up, add some space. I've noticed this when I was doing ghost arrangements or studying other breakdowns, that there's longer, more distant elements in the breakdown. Okay, so this was a bit of a diversion. I think this was maybe a wrong path to go back and start playing with effects on the bass, but I think my goal here was to create a filtered version of the bass to use during the break. Phase Mistress has a section of phase presets that are designed for basses, which sound nice on basses. Yeah, so I'm still messing with the piano here, piano stab. I want to make sure that I have enough interesting going on so you can use the LFO on the filter amount there to keep it moving throughout the track so it's constantly changing. I think basically what I'm trying to do is make sure I have enough variations to keep the track interesting. You know, if I took a lesson away from this, it's like stick with that melodic stuff and get all your variations done before you start moving into arrangement like I'm doing now. Yeah, make sure that musical ideal is strong before getting too carried away with effects. And part of the musical idea is creating enough variations that you have interesting parts to use in your arrangement once you start to do it. But yeah, so in the previous attempts at a track in 20 minutes, I didn't make it to the arrangement phase, so I'm pushing here to get into a basic arrangement. But basically, I really just want to sketch out a breakdown and drop to make sure that that works, because that's the core of the track. We're already about 17 minutes done, 3 minutes remaining. So just gonna try some different parts together here and get an arrangement going. Yeah, again, shouldn't be EQing the bass probably just yet, but couldn't resist. When you hear something, you want to fix it. Yeah, here we go, doing sound design on the bass with 2 minutes left in the track. Probably should wait and just get the idea down. Okay, so the key to a good breakdown, in my opinion, is lots of contrast. So here's the typical thing of cutting the lows from the bass as we go into the break. The contrast, you can, really go crazy with the effects to accomplish that. First thing would be cutting the frequencies from the bass, removing parts, adding reverb, adding delay, changing the parts to be more legato, long elements, like I just did there. And the drums cut out completely right at the end of the break. Got just about a minute left to try and add some more contrast to that breakdown. So cut the lows out of the synths as well. And just turn that on during the end of the break. All right, 20 minutes is up. Let's hear what we got. Oh yeah, I'm gonna mix in that phasing on the bass, I think, right as we hit the break. Okay, 20 minutes is up. Let's hear what we got. I'm gonna play through a section here. so thanks for listening. You heard what an influence that I think the core musical idea is really the most important part of the idea. Some good tips about tapping in rhythmic notes for the bass. If I do have one regret, it would have been I wish I could have fit one more percussion part in there to make the percussion more interesting, like a conga or something.